So, what influences an agency when it comes to pricing out Google advertising services? That is what we're going to talk about today. So, when it comes to an agency like myself pricing out Google ads, there are a number of different factors that come into play. And recently, a client asked me about this, and I'm like, what a great opportunity to do a video on it. So, when it comes to determining my fees for setting up advertising on behalf of your business, there are a couple different things that come into play. First of all, ad spend. How much are you willing to spend on advertising, i.e., ad spend, on the platform? Because there's a big difference in how much work is involved if we're only spending $1,000 a month or if we're spending $10,000 a month. Obviously, the more you spend in ad spend, the more complex the account setup becomes, the more keywords we're going to be bidding on, the more audiences we're going to be bidding on, the more complex our retargeting is going to get. And we could do that with greater ad spend, which is a lovely benefit. So it influences what my fees would be. The other thing that influences what an agency would charge is it a local campaign or is it a national campaign? We work primarily with local based businesses. So that being service providers, so that being attorneys, dermatologists, ophthalmologists, or optometrists, that kind of thing. Setting up a campaign at the local level is actually easier than at the national level. And the reason for that being is negative keywords. So without going into Google, the different elements of Google, negative keywords are keywords that we tell Google we do not want to bid on. So when you're bidding on or setting up a national campaign, you need more negative keywords than you would if it were just a local campaign. With a local campaign, our auction, our ability to bid in the auction, which is what Google Ads is an auction, is limited by the geographical scope. So we have a little bit more flexibility in the keywords that we bid on and on our negative keyword list versus a national campaign where we have to be more on top of it. The other element that comes into play when setting up a Google Ads account is retargeting. So if you have a smaller budget, we're just going to do some basic retargeting where it's if someone landed on your website, we're going to then do some display retargeting, following them around on the interweb on third-party websites. That's called retargeting through display. If you have a larger budget or a more complex campaign, we can get more detailed with the retargeting, both in setting up the campaign, setting up Google Analytics to monitor the audiences, in addition to setting up what we call retargeting on the search platform, YouTube videos, etc. So that kind of ties into how much are you going to spend per month. But even on a smaller budget, if the client is really focused more on retargeting and warm audiences rather than cold audiences, that will impact how much we charge. So with all that, keeping that all in play, what are some factors that you can keep in mind to keep the costs down? Well, every agency, first of all, kind of sets up their budgets or their management fees differently. Some of them are flat rate. Some of them are a flat rate based on ad spend, which is what we do. Some of them is a flat rate plus a percent of ad spend. So if you might be, just say $1,000 a month and you're spending $10,000 a month, they'll ask for 10% of the ad spend as a management fee on top of the 10,000. So be very clear when you are working with an agency and doing your research that you're clear on how they bill you for their services, because it does vary across the industry. So factors that can keep that down is obviously ad spend, because most agencies that I know of where we are, work together for different things, they charge based on ad spend. Now for me, my management fee starts out like 30% of whatever the ad spend is, but actually then goes down as you spend more. Most agencies do that, but that is one thing to keep in mind, that usually, let's say the difference between $2,500 a month and $10,000, my percentage take changes. So that's something just to know. When it comes to, let's say you have an agency you want to work with, but their fees are just a little bit too high, ask them if there's anything that they can take out in terms of their management. Maybe you only want search, but they automatically include retargeting. You can ask them if they can remove that and if that would influence their management fee. I include everything because I look at it as I am your advertiser on behalf of your agent business, and I want to do the best that we can do to get you the most leads as possible. And so I set up everything and look at it as a holistic. But ask them if there's anything that they're providing, what are they providing, and then to itemize it and then see if there's anything that they can remove. There's always going to be a setup fee of some sort because there's a lot of time and energy that goes into keyword research, writing ad copy, getting the account set up, getting Google Analytics integrated with everything, setting up tags, retargeting tags, all that kind of stuff. So there is usually a setup fee, and setup fees will vary. Sometimes agencies will waive the setup fee if you commit to a 3, 6, or 9 month contract. So ask about that. And then various things that can cause your project to increase are landing pages. Not all agencies will include designing landing pages in the build. So a landing page will be, where are we sending the traffic? I have done numerous split tests of sending traffic to a really well-designed website versus a really well-designed landing page, and the website actually converts probably 9 times out of 10. But if a client comes to me and they show me their website and it's just not up to my standards, I will use a landing page. But in those situations, I actually charge for the landing page because it's not built in my normal business practice. And a landing page, takes a lot of time. You have to get the copywriter involved, the web designer, all this kind of stuff. It is an extra element, and so that can drive the price of your audience or your management fee up. Like I mentioned, also retargeting ads, depending on if the agency are designing ads or doing responsive ads, that can all influence everything as well. And another element that I'll add is if you come to me, and this is just me, and you want to do Google and Facebook, I usually provide like a bundle discount. Ask that. If you're talking to agencies, do you provide a bundle discount if I'm going to come to you with SEO and Google ads or Facebook ads or content management or whatever it may be that you're looking for, right? Because, in my opinion, they should, because you're asking them to be their full stack marketer. They may or may not provide those options, but ask. So those are, I hope, helps explain what goes into setting up the pricing from the agency perspective for providing Google advertising for various businesses, in my case, service-based businesses. If you have any questions about anything that I've talked about, leave a comment below. I will get the notification and I will reply as promptly as possible.